Trying to get comfortable up in this thing.
Got calls on the ship.
Yeah.
I don't see that working.
It's okay now.
My name is Chris. I am alcoholic, addict. Struggle with anything that makes me feel better faster the better. I don't know why I have the preamble up here. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, 1976. My father was a cop. My mother worked in a pharmaceutical distributor, which was actually, like I said, my first job, working in the warehouse, shipping and receiving. So if I knew then what I know now, I'd be totally screwed, probably dead or in prison. I have a brother that's 5 years older than me, and we had a real good family, very active family. It was like one of the TV sitcom families. I tell everybody that all the time. And I played softball. My father played softball. My brother played football, all that good stuff. Camping constantly. I mean, probably once a month we go camping or something like that. You know, huge family outside the house. A lot of big dinners. Every Sunday we had a huge dinner, big holiday dinners, all that good stuff. And I thought everything was all that good. That was all behind closed doors. So when I was about 10 years old, that's when my parents started falling apart. Started separating a little bit. My father finally moved out, and I started to see a lot of the stuff going on, a lot of the fighting and everything, the holes in the walls and all that stuff. And, you know, my father was a drinker. They were both hippies, both potheads. You know, I didn't see that until I was older. I started to recognize that smell a lot too. So, when my father moved out, I started to fill the void a lot, which led to filling the void with the wrong people, wrong places, definitely the wrong things. I had well, at this time, my mother also met her boyfriend, her brand new boyfriend, straight out of Rikers Island. Did an 8-year bid in Rikers Island for robbing a Carvel on his daughter's birthday. All he did was go in there to buy her a birthday cake and ended up sticking him up so he can go get high. Happy birthday. Like I said, I started filling the void, filling it the wrong places. Already at 12, 13 years old, I'm in the schoolyard, hanging out with my friends up there, drinking. Started off just drinking 40 ounces. And then, you know, I started off one a day, then two, then it got into the harder liquor, more of it. I think I was 13. First time my friend Jeremy introduced me to the greeneries. I started smoking at 13 years old. I was working at the carnivals. I was a carny at 13, which introduced me to a lot of stuff in there too. There's a lot of pipes and needles going around at the carnivals. But at the same time, it's a family. It was a close family. We always took care of each other. And from 90 to 95 was basically the turning point in my life where I was introduced to a lot of stuff. It was a 5-year introduction to my whole new lifestyle. I'll call it the caboose that would push me down the wrong tracks in life. I went way off. Things got way out of hand real quick. I moved to Florida when I was 16. The only reason I moved to Florida was to look after my mother, because my stepfather, right from the very beginning, I think within the first three or 4 months, the real him started coming out, and he was very abusive. He would beat the crap out of my mother. He beat her with the fish finder bag with the fish finder in it. He tried running her down on the sidewalk with her car, driving on the sidewalk. And this is still at the age of 13, and I had to chase him down the street with kitchen knives, because it was just, you know, here I am, 13 years old, and he's straight out of Rikers Island, 450-pound man. So I had to grow up real quick at that point, and I didn't want nothing to do with that. I didn't want to grow up fast. I don't know why I was enjoying my life, but I thought I was, at least, even though I was already going downhill at that age. We moved to Florida, and Florida helped Florida helped my sick mind corrupt myself. I'm not going to blame Florida completely. You know, it was still in my head. But the first day in school, I met my best friend Eric, who I still talk to. Matter of fact, spoke to him last night. And first day of school, we skipped school together. Walked out. I think it was probably about 11 o'clock, and we just signed into school. Left, went to my house, and just started hitting a bottle of vodka. And we just started to get tore up, and got to the point like, oh, let's flavor it. Started putting Tootsie Rolls in it and stuff like that. And any kind of candy we could find just to give it some flavor. That's my friend that introduced me to the beach bum life. I love the beach bum life, but I like to do it sober now if I could. But I guess not around here. Still yet to see a beach in a year. I guess I got to take a 6-hour drive. But so me, Eric, and my friend Chris, they introduced me to the beach bum life, sleeping on the beach, playing volleyball in the dark, and almost getting impaled by trees in the bushes and stuff like that. Stupid stuff, falling asleep in blackouts, blacking out on the beach, waking up halfway through the next day. The bottom of my feet was sunburnt. And still this is spring break time, so I'm trying to crash people's hotel room parties. Can't even walk because I got lobster feet. So that was interesting times, but it was never a good outcome no matter what. When I was 16 is when I started to get into a lot of other things, a lot of hallucinogenics and stuff. I met my friend Ernie, and it was like you walk into his house and he'd tell you stick out your tongue. It was communion. You stick out your tongue and he'd pop a piece of paper on your tongue. And that was how you were introduced into his house. That's how you walked into his house every single time you walk in. But he got to the point with me and him where he'd welcome me with a baseball bat to the legs. That was like dead legs to each other. But we were using baseball bats. When I was 18, at 17 I met my first real girlfriend. And things were good with us. We were young though. Found out when I was back in New York that she was pregnant, and that was the first baby. I wasn't there when the baby was born. I wasn't even sure what was going on, if she even had it or anything. I met her one time when I was 13. Matter of fact, last year I found her on Facebook and sent her a message and everything, and tried to tell her what my life was all about, and apologize, making amends. Tried to. She didn't want nothing to do with that. You were never a father. Why should I? She's 18. She's 21 years old now. From 3 to 21 is a long freaking time. I don't blame her. I went back to New York again, and I got introduced into the underground lifestyle. I was hanging out with a lot of DJs. I was promoting all the raves, all the underground parties and stuff like that, which went into more and more stuff. Once again, the hallucinogenics, acid, ecstasy, and that was like a whole nother realm. I mean, there was no reality in that at all. I think about it now, I was like, don't even know who I was, which was pretty much my whole life, not knowing who I was, just trying to fit in because of trying to fill voids, trying to fit in wherever I could, put on a mask, be somebody else. I was a chameleon. Always was a chameleon after that. In 94, back in Florida now, I met another Jennifer. Both of my daughter's mother's name was Jennifer, which worked out good because the first one I got the tattoo of her name on my ankle. It was it says Jen M, and the second one was Jen M also. Not to mention I dated 2 other Jen M's after that. So that worked out good. It's a common name. But we've tried a few things together. She never got hooked on anything, thank God. But she had a daughter also. And that one, I was in and out of her life. More out, of course. That's the lifestyle. Couldn't take care of myself. How am I going to take care of a kid? And I always remember when she was, actually I want to say 8 years old. I said 12 the other day, but 8 years old. one of the times I got out of jail, me and her were going shopping, and this always sticks in my head. Walking to Kmart, she stopped me, turned to me, and said, "You're not going to do nothing stupid and leave me again, get taken out of my life again. Please tell me you're not going to." And I said, "I'm done. The lifestyle's over with. I'm done. You know, I'm all yours." Next morning, the cops came kicking my door and looking for me. That was another year bid there. Man, I begged them for prison time. I don't want to do that county crap, but that broke her heart. She pretty much wanted nothing to do with me after that. And once again, I don't blame her. But the thing is, in my problems, I always blamed everybody else, and now I sit here and I have no problem saying I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It's funny how that works. And my partying, my use, my chemical dependency was that was my savior, or my higher power, I'll say. I couldn't just walk away. I relied on that. I didn't want to deal with the stuff happening at the house, happening at home. I wanted no part of it, like I said. Now in 2001, a lot of new friends were made. A lot of my old friends were either dead or in prison. So I made a lot of new friends. We're all street people. I became, well, I guess they call them mules. I started running trafficking from Miami across the states towards New York and stuff like that for some pretty bad individuals. And that made my use of everything get bad. I'd be driving through the states with a fifth in the between the seats, not to mention all the other paraphernalia and stuff all throughout the car, and door panels filled with bricks of other stuff. Actually, that's when I found out the truth shall set you free, and it works every time. I got pulled over here in Georgia coming from Florida with a total of 4 kilos of stuff in the door panels, personal use stuff, and my gun in the glove box, and my personal stash in the stash under the center console. A cop asked says, "So you know why I pulled you over?" I said, "Because I'm a white boy with dreads and New York license plates and cracked windshield. You're speeding, this and that." He says, "Anything in the car I should know about? Guns, bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers? Anything I should know about before I call the dogs in?" I was completely freaking honest with him. I was straight up. I told him, "Well, I got about 4 kilos of cocaine. I got some heroin, weed, got my gun in the glove box." He looked at me like I was crazy. Said, "Is there anything I should know about?" I said, "No." Sorry, slow down, be on your way. If I didn't need a new pair of drawers, I'll tell you what. And serious. That was the one time I told the truth and it worked. Everything else was lies after that once again. The one time I told the truth, it actually worked. Now with these new people, I met all these street people. I met another girl, probably one of my biggest problems. Not anymore. That's actually my better half now. But that's when I really started to see the death. The one girl I was getting engaged to, the last time I seen her, I walked her to a house of a friend of hers so she could get some sleep, because we've been up for probably about a week and a half or something like that. I left her at the canal across the street from the house, and about 2 days later, they found her body on that canal right where I left her. She was raped and beat to death. Probably trying to make money for a fix or whatever, but you know, it wasn't the first time. It wasn't the last time. It was the first time with someone I loved, but definitely wasn't the last time, because it became part of life seeing that. I mean, almost every day there was somebody I was losing out there. It's a sad, sad life, but it's a self-inflicted life. I did it to myself. I'm going to fast forward. In 2004, my mom finally got tired of my shit. So she showed me tough love. That was the first time I still laugh about it now. I actually kind of laughed about it when it happened. I was sleeping I had to get about a week's sleep because I was up to the point where my body totally shut down. You know what that's like. That's what I would do. I'd be out there till I've been walking down the street and like one body part at a time would start to go out and I'd feel it. It starts running through the body to where I look like Ace Ventura in the second one when he's running with the darts in him. No muscles working. My mind's not working, not like it worked in the meantime anyway. But I woke up in the middle of the night. She was moving stuff out of the house with her little Spanish friend that I've never seen before in my life. And I was woken up by her asking me to get off the couch so she can move it out of the house. So I got off the couch and I went on the floor and slept on the floor, not realizing what the hell's going on. She was moving out of me, leaving me, showing me tough love. Look, you're on your own. You either get help or you're going to continue to live like this. She didn't say any of it, but now I got to figure it out. That's what she was saying. I ended up on the streets after I lived out the last few weeks of the rent there, which I lived in that apartment. This was during the hurricanes. A tree went down on top of the house. So there's a tree in the roof of the house. There's no hot water. There's no electricity. I got me and a bunch of alcoholics living in this house, taking cold showers, eating like mayonnaise sandwiches and raw ramen noodles and stuff like that. And after the rent was up, they finally had to remove me from there. The same way they usually have to remove me. I'm passed out because I can't stay up. So I ended up on the streets, living in the woods, in my deluxe apartment in the woods. Did that for, I think, 9 months the first time. I don't remember all the years, all the dates or anything like that, even times. Like my whole life was a blur. But that wasn't the first time, it wasn't the last time my mother showed me the tough love. And when I was living in the woods, she sent her boyfriend at the time to come pick me up and bring me home, try and clean me up. They were living in Palm Springs at the time, went out there, started working for Sunbelt Scaffolding. And my daughter actually got in touch with me through Facebook. I don't know if it was her or her mother at the time, but they contacted me and they snuck away from her husband at the time. Her mother is not her. But they snuck away from her husband and took a 4-hour drive to come see me, spent the night over there. And we decided that I would move to Polk County where they lived so I could be close to her and be part of her life again. That was going really good. I was involved with her. We were doing things like a father and daughter should. I was a father. It felt great. And the one thing was, I always, as long as I had the family and stuff like that, I didn't want the drugs. That was the only time I didn't want the drugs. When things were right, when I felt wanted, when I felt I was worth something. And then her stepfather, who was a very jealous man, he got with her mother when he was 14 years old. She was 17 or 18. So she was his first, so he's really attached to her. And he would do anything to get me out of their lives. So he started all kinds of stuff, started saying I was using this and that. There was a confrontation, I'm not even going to get into that again. Him and his cousin tried to get on me, but that didn't work out very well. And told me to stay away from the games, stay away from my daughter, just walk away, just turn around and walk. And like an idiot, I did. I let it go. And messed up thing was that was my decision because I didn't know how to handle situations like that. The same reason why I started my lifestyle, because I was emotionally immature, emotionally unstable. I always said they don't teach you in school how to deal with situations like these. You know, nobody prepares you for that stuff. Nobody prepared me for it, at least. But I just walked away like an idiot, and I decided, being I couldn't handle it, once again, let me go fix my head. And that was it, right back out there. Started really, really heavy drinking again. Got to the point where I was my drink for the day would be wake up. If I slept, wake up when the liquor store opens, go get a $15, $20 bottle of Bacardi, finish that by maybe 4 or 5 o'clock, and continue on with another $15, $20 bottle of tequila to finish the day off. And that was like a daily thing sometimes, on top of all my other uses. From there, I tried Teen Challenge. Now, I tried to get clean maybe 3 times. I went to Teen Challenge, not my decision, and that was the problem. That's probably why it didn't work, because I didn't want to do it. I went there. There was a 9-month program. I made it out for 7 months, to where I finally said, you know, I've got this. Just 3 words. I've got this. Left the program, went home. Within that time, it was only a few weeks that time, not even a few weeks, a few days, but I was right back out there, in the streets, in the woods, full-fledged using. Never mind rock bottom. There's no such thing as rock bottom. And when you go back out, every time you go back, you start. I always end up right back where I was within the first week at the beginning, and then it got to the point where every time I went back out, it would be the same day. That fast, I go right back out where I was, and it was over. Done deal. I just looked at the time, so I'm going to go fast forward. I've done that a few times. I've been on the streets. That's actually where I met Lisa. Running around with the same crew. Well, wasn't running around with them. I was her dealer, then her driver, then her party buddy. That's what I'll call it. But we lived a lifestyle. I still had a place to go home to at the time. Now, my mother showed me probably 2 more times. She did the same thing, go home, pass out, and she's moving stuff out of the house while I'm sleeping. And every time she wakes me up off the furniture to move the furniture out. And I kindly oblige, get up, go on the floor, and she'll move the couch or the bed out. Same thing every time. It's ridiculous. Now, my last time out there, I tried another program called Faith Farm Ministries. I made it through. I was there for 1 year and 2 months. Went home, and that one actually worked out pretty good. I actually made it for 2 months when I got out. I stayed clean for 2 whole months. that was a record, yeah. I had to celebrate. Yeah. So I went out and celebrated real hard. Now, from then on, it got so bad. I mean, I was really bad shooting my alcohol, I'll say, using needles and smoking really bad. I'm not even sugarcoat it. I was the biggest freaking junkie. I was a heroin and crack addict, plus the alcohol. Now, I overdosed numerous times. My last time out there was the end. It was the last one. There was a lot of territory battles with my lifestyle, and I was rolled up on by 2 vehicles full of people, and they got out of the cars, probably about 5, 6 out of each car, and just got on top of me. And I woke up in the hospital. My brain was hemorrhaging. I had internal bleeding. I was hooked up to all kinds of tubes, and one of the most uncomfortable tubes in my life. But I was in a lot of pain. I could barely move, but I knew that in my pants that was sitting on the stool across the room, there was still a little baggie. So I reached across the room and got that in the hospital, laying in a hospital bed using a freaking needle. And that did it. I woke up under a sheet, gasping for air. I just came out of it, just couldn't find out. They already had my death paper signed. They said I was dead just under 7 minutes. No bright light. Didn't see bright light. Woke up, felt a strong presence though. That's the time I knew this shit was real. As long as I wanted to die, that's the time I figured out I really don't. I want to live. I want to live a real life. And step 1, 2, and 3, that was all right there in that hospital room. And for the next 2 weeks, locked in my trailer. I locked myself in the trailer, the trailer that my mother already left me in, moving the couch. I called the program back. They said, keep calling us every day. If you really want to do this, keep calling us. So when there's a bed available, we'll take you in. Now, the eviction was for June 15th, which is my birthday, my belly button birthday. And I just stayed in the room, and I kept telling myself that I want to live a life. I want a real life, because obviously my way wasn't working. I keep doing my will. I ain't gonna get nowhere in life. I got down on my knees every day. I think there's days where I spent half the day on my knees just talking to God. You know, I knew that my will wasn't working. I wanted to do His will, and that's when I first started actually working on step and didn't even know it. Working step and didn't even know it. Constantly praying for His will. So I got a call on June 14th of 2012 that there was a bed available coming in the morning. So I had the 2 weeks clean already, but I celebrated my birthday on June 15th because it's my belly button birthday. It was the day I was supposed to be evicted, but hey, got you this time. I have a bed waiting. And I started a new life on that day. I went to the program, graduated March 16th of 2013. This time I stayed in meetings when I got out of the program. The first year and a half, 2 years was Celebrate Recovery, which they do. People think they don't work steps there. They do work the same 12 steps. So I started working my steps. And it was a long road. The first year out of there, I lost my mother May 4th of 2014. I held it together. I isolated for a little bit, locked myself in the house. I really wanted to use. I really wanted to do the things that I used to do, but I also had contact with my daughter again, so I promised my mother on her deathbed that I would never use again. I promised her, I promised my daughter, and I promised my higher power. And the main person, I promised myself. So I stuck it out. I got put through a lot more tests. I lost my job. I had a great job, making almost $1,000 a week. Bought a nice car. Finally had it. I always said, I want a nice car, I went out, got me a damn Mercedes. I was doing good. I had a car, I had a freaking apartment, I had a great job, I had my life together. But I realized the other day I was stuck on, I was talking about this yesterday. My head got way too big. So God had to show me to slow down a little bit. You know, they say attraction rather than promotion. I was promoting way too much. Oh, look at me. Yeah, so I got put to the test again. I lost my job. New property management took over and let us go. So I lost my job. My apartment came with my job, so I had no place to go. I lived in the car for a week before I had to get the car up because I couldn't make payments. I wasn't working. They only had 2 payments left. So I ended up on the streets, right where I was, right there in the middle of the territory I was getting high with, around the people I was getting high with. I mean, they were coming up to me with handfuls of stuff, offering. I made it through. I did it. I stayed on the streets without picking up one time. And then I got the offer to come to Georgia. Made it here. And here I am. Still going. Now I got married within 3 months. And God definitely brought me here. I was working. I did have a good job. I was staying in a house where people were using. There was 2 strippers. Traffic in and out, people buying from the guy that lived behind in the back. And I had to see that every day. I get on my bike and take bike rides for like 3 hours, not to mention going to work, which was 14 miles both ways. I'd ride my bike there. 14 miles there, 14 miles back. Middle of the morning, and take bike rides when I wasn't working, just to stay out of the house. So I got the phone call. Found Lisa on Facebook through her ex-girlfriend who was actually trying to get back with her. I didn't know that. So as she was telling me, oh, Lisa's nice, Lisa's clean, staying she lives in Georgia now. I sent her a friend request while she's telling me about it, and I'm sending a friend requesting her on Facebook. That night she asked me, you want to come to Georgia and be with me? I'll get back to you on it. Got tired of my job. There was a lot of, there was 3 bars in the place I was cooking. It was a bar and grill on the water. Real nice place. And just a lot of stress there. So I left the job that night, told her, yes, I want to come. She said she'd send me a ticket. So I was looking out for the ticket, went in the mailbox, and it was an eviction notice. They had 2 days of people I was living with to get out of the house. But at the same time, there was also the ticket there. So some doors get closed, some doors closed, the other doors open. So I made it through. I made it here. It's my new family. I love it here. And I couldn't do it without this, without the people in this room and this program. These steps. You got to live these steps every day. You know, my step 4 was actually my favorite. It meant a whole lot to me to see all my resentments that I had that I used for. My resentments were actually my ammunition to keep getting high because everything was everybody else's fault. So I had a fully loaded gun all the time. So I finally realized, admitted that, yeah, it might have been me. When you got 100 fingers pointing at you, you might be the problem. Stop blaming everybody else. But step 5. First I had to understand my character defects, and I didn't realize how much it can make a difference just knowing my defects. And the first one that I always knew was fear. A lot of my issues came from fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of loneliness, fear of failure, death, loss, fear of rejection, fear of ridicule. Fears caused me to live in a different lifestyle by running away from my problems, running away from my life. And my favorite sponsor in the galaxy, man, Yoda, my favorite little green sponsor. Fear is a path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. That's one of my favorite sayings right there, because it's like my favorite movie of all time, and it says it right there. And I have an app that actually has all Yoda's sayings, and it's everything that everybody's sponsor should tell them. Where I post them all the time. It's great. But actually, in step 5, actually, it was in today's daily reflections. It says one of the things that it said was, when I released the past and all the excess baggage I carried for so long, I came to know a new freedom. There was so much stuff weighing on my back for so many years that I didn't want to tell anybody, that I didn't want to let go. Baggage is the word, and I had a freaking warehouse on my back. When you finally let go of that stuff, it makes such a difference. And to know that I could talk, there's people I could talk to, like I can call my sponsor anytime something starts weighing on me. I'm not going to be judged, you know, because anything I've been through, I'm sure there's somebody else that could relate to me. So I'm not alone. I'm not alone. Stop. Don't worry about what the hell I did. Somebody else has done it or something similar to it. It doesn't freaking matter. I've got a problem here, and I'm not the only one. Yeah, I live with one too. But step 8, making amends is that was rough, but it paid off. I mean, there was some people that didn't take them very well, but it's probably because I didn't think before I did it. I mean, putting salt on open wounds, and especially when you're going to make an amends to somebody that doesn't even know you did something. Don't want to do that. You really want to get what you really want to. Oh, I should have got with my sponsor so many times before I made amends. Like, don't open a book that hasn't even been put on the shelf. Real, but the main thing is that if I couldn't make the amends, just keep doing what I'm doing, keep doing the next right thing, just be a living amends, live a life like that. It will be noticed. It does not go on, and it does not go by unnoticed. I mean, the promises have come true in my life pretty quick. I've got family back in my life. I've got a good relationship with my daughter, my father, my brother. I talk to them on a regular. I've got family again. Blood family and a whole new family. And I wouldn't have any of it if it wasn't for this program. That's all I got.